Hey, welcome back to the eForge podcast, where kingdom entrepreneurs are forged into high impact leaders. I'm your host, Corey Long. Today, I've got a guest who is a master at helping coaches and consultants turn their ad spend into predictable revenue. If you've ever tried to run Facebook ads and felt like you were just throwing money at Zuckerberg without a return, this one's for you. I'm talking today with Lance Greenberg, the creator of the TTO Facebook ad strategy. You probably have seen his ads out there talking to business owners, coaches, consultants, telling them how to break down exactly what's happening with their ads. This is where they go. This is where experts go to grow their audience, build trust, convert more sales. And if you failed with ads before, you need to listen to this call. So let's jump on in. Hey, welcome so much, Lance. I know you and I have chatted a lot about this process. Give us a little background, like how did you get into all of this in the first place with Facebook ads and what you're doing nowadays?
Okay, so how far back do you want me to go?
Yeah, that's kind of
Like
like
a
me,
life
right?
story?
Yeah. No,
Um,
just I know that this is something that you've really got into, especially recently with the way the algorithms have changed. You and I were just talking about, even your whole business model has just shifted in probably the last, what, 6 to 12 months? You've
yeah,
shifted your whole business model this direction. Tell me why. Like, give some background of why all this shift's taking place, because I know this is kind of where you've really sunk your teeth in. This is where you really have your expertise.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, the way ads work, the way targeting works, and really the way business works has changed. It's completely changed. And so, what's happened recently is a lot of people are struggling with their ads, specifically with lead quality
Yeah.
and filling up their calendars, right? And and a lot of that is due to the ad AI and it kind of taking control of everything. And so what we used to do is has totally changed. But what we used to do is we used to sit in a room. We had an office downtown Indianapolis for our agency, and we used to sit in a room, with a group of people, and we would do all this research and come up with all this stuff and dig in all of these things. And I said, man, well, I used to take, it used to cost us a lot of money to do that.
Yeah.
Now we have tools where we can do it within minutes, and it all has all of that thinking logic behind it, but then it also has thinking models and things considered into that system to where we understand that the AI is controlling
Mm.
everything. It's no
Yeah.
longer, if you've looked in the past year, specifically on Facebook, a lot of the targeting has been taken away.
Yeah.
You'll
And it
notice
seems to
that,
change all the time.
yeah, yep,
Yeah. So
all the time,
you're
constantly.
seeing though, because I know you know that I own multiple different businesses. We own training companies. We own them. Like in our businesses, we've noticed some of the businesses we're doing way better on ads. Some of the businesses we're not doing near as well on ads. Like some of them, the costs have doubled, tripled, quadrupled in the last year for the same exact type of lead that we were getting a year ago, which really brings your ROI down. Like that really causes a lot of problems. And what are you seeing right now across the board? Because I know you and I were talking about this with some of the you had conversations today about somebody you brought in. Like, what are you seeing these them struggling with the Facebook ads? Is it? I know you just talked about targeting. Is it something that's moving more towards where you need to have that more kind of holistic approach?
Yes. So one of the main things that people need to be focused on right now is less like funnel stuff
Mm,
and more understanding AI and understanding markets,
yeah.
because markets and then understanding within the market, understanding competition.
Mm, yeah.
Because what people need to understand is markets shrink and they grow, and people change the way that they think, right? If you look at different, Eugene Schwartz has his little chart for awareness levels and sophistication. People are going through that much more rapidly
Right.
because of AI, because of technology. So markets are shrinking and expanding really, really fast.
Mm,
And when you run an ad for something, what people have to understand is there's only so big of an inventory of buyers,
mm.
and they have all these people competing with each other to get that person's eyeballs.
Yeah, you get blasted every day with ads. Like it's a constant.
And because the AI has gotten better, you will now see direct competitors just stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I'm
So,
seeing now even in my feed where you'll see one ad for, I don't know, whatever, let's say an AI product. And then the next thing in my feed is another ad for an AI product. Like it's back to back. There's no room in between them or nothing. It's interesting that you say that because I've literally seen that recently. Haven't seen that as much until just recently, but I've seen it even today when I was scrolling through. That's very interesting.
yeah, it
So
was an update that they just did.
is that AI? So that's AI driven also then. They're looking at whatever I'm looking at, they're showing whatever the ads are, and they're just stacking competitors on top of each other.
Yeah, it's actually targeting better.
Mm,
So when we think about targeting and lead quality and all that stuff, people people tend to think like, oh, it's gotten worse. Actually, it's gotten better. It's
mm,
gotten better at targeting. And what you see from your ads is it's just a reflection of how good your ads are, how well you're marketing, how in tune with the market you are.
right,
Because the AI is just getting all this information and then it's doing its thing, right?
right.
So if you have the wrong people coming in, if you have people coming in, they're unresponsive, then it's probably due to the AI actually doing a better job
Mm.
delivering exactly what you're asking for, and then also, doing that with somebody else, and now you guys are bunched together and the person's having to decide.
Well, you and I were talking about this is a while back about one of our personal businesses that you can give AI the wrong messaging, and then before long, now your pixel data that is actually driving the ads is going to the wrong person, and it's just continuing. It's going to continue to do that as long as it's getting leads or whatever it is that you're trying to go after. It's going to continue to do that because the pixel data now is all pointed towards whatever that whatever that audience is. um I because that's like that seems like a big problem. that seems
Yeah,
I that seems like a big issue.
yeah, it'll pollute your data. It will. There's all these downstream things that it causes. It also causes, like, if you have a sales team, it causes your sales team to form bias.
Mm.
So the AI will form a bias, your sales team will form a bias.
All
You
these are broke, all these people
Yep.
look, yeah, 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 yeah.
And then when they finally get some, good leads or whatever, then they're already too far gone mentally to close the deal.
You and I were talking about a customer we even had right now that we've been running ads for them personally in our agency. We've been sending a ton of leads to them, but their conversion rate is super low. We even went to the point where we hired an appointment setter just for them to take care of the ad or the leads coming from the ads. They're still struggling to convert. And so that makes a lot of sense. The whole bias from the sales team or the business owner, because a lot of people that listen to my podcast and that I deal with, these are owner operators. They're doing the work themselves. They're the ones that are getting the call. They're running through that. What advice would you give somebody, just out of curiosity, that maybe that's a struggle for them? They're getting leads. They feel like maybe I don't know. Maybe they feel like it's a lead problem. Maybe they feel like it's a targeting problem. Maybe they feel like it's a sales problem. Like what's the advice that you would give somebody? I just out of curiosity, since we're
I
on that
mean,
topic.
the advice I would give somebody, so on the topic of sales, because I've coached a lot of people on sales. That's actually my background. That's how I started the ad agency, because I got tired of going out on foot to get leads.
Yeah.
So the thing that I find with most sales teams is they think they're a 9 out of a 10, and that's their mentality. And
Yeah.
when mentally, like, think about it with ads, if mentally you think you're a 9 out of a 10, then you only have 1 point to grow,
Right.
which then your opportunities to grow are shrunk through that. So, what I would tell people about their sales team is it's incredibly competitive, and your competitors are training like athletes.
Mm.
There's a lot of companies I talk to where they're like, I look at all their ads, I look at their lead quality, I look at everything, and I'm like, hey, your ad guy is doing a really good job. You
Yeah.
know, it
That's
looks
probably
like
not what
you
they're expecting you to tell them either.
no, a lot of times they're not. My goal is always to retain the ad people. It's
Yeah.
always to retain the entire team. Like my goal is to never come in and start firing people or whatever whenever they call me. It's to retain their ad people and just help them adjust what they're looking at, what they're measuring, and they're put some systems in place for that, right? But like for sales teams, one of those things that I tell companies is, okay, if you're going to say that the lead quality is bad, then what is the binary measurement of that? How
Mm.
are you measuring it?
Yeah, they're
All
probably not
companies,
measuring it.
no, they're not. Very few. All companies need to measure their lead quality, not just
Mm.
their pass, not just their opt-in, their pass rate from setter to closer or lead to sale or whatever, but they need to actually define their lead quality, like what what is a good lead,
Right.
like definitively.
Right.
And then they need to score all the leads that are coming in. And then what they need to do is look at, when is our sales team, when do we do better? Like
Mm.
what score are we hitting versus when we don't. You got your sales team has to train like athletes because it's competitive. Like I was sharing with you earlier, we had a client who their salespeople were turning people away because
Right.
they wanted to watch a 90-minute video. And the thing
Right.
is, your competitors, if you think about the best in the game, like if you just think about off the top of your head, the top guy in business that's in your consciousness that you're aware of, you've seen him all the time, they're doing 30 to 50 million or whatever. And you look at their salespeople and you compare their sales process to yours, the people, they're
Yeah,
going to beat you every time.
they're not going to set for, and that guy that you're talking about, like I'm not going to set for a 90-minute video. I don't
No,
have time for that. Like I'm running too many businesses doing too many things to set for a 90-minute video to just have a conversation with a sales guy. Like I'm not,
yep.
that's not going to happen.
You're also competing against AI too.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
a lot of the sales teams are competing against AI teams. They're competing against world class teams. And many of them, like the days of just being able to wing it,
Yeah,
with ads and with sales, like the days of just being able to, that's just not the environment right now. Like the
yeah,
environment is, you got to train like an athlete, you got to get to the leads fast, and you got to measure the lead quality, you got to score them, and then you have to be definitive and clear about what a lead is, and then
right,
also your KPIs.
right.
um Back in the day when I worked in sales, we didn't rely on ads or anything. It was just, we had to
Picking up the
serve,
phone.
yeah, we had to set
Yeah,
a certain amount of calls no matter what, right? Because that's what our income was based on. And a lot of these companies, they're just not having these conversations with their salespeople. They're not talking about their personal income goals. They're not breaking down, hey, here's how many calls you need to book in order in this financial model to hit that goal, or here's how many people need to tell you no to hit
yeah,
that goal.
yeah.
They're not they're not really doing that,
Well, many
and
of
I
them
think
aren't hunting like you used to hunt. Like you used
no,
to go hunt for new sales, new people.
people have gotten very complacent because we hit that little era of where ads and everything was just kind of easy. But again, like markets, they're moving faster now.
Yeah,
So a person today may have no idea that they have a problem.
yeah,
And then by 5 o'clock tomorrow, they know that they have a problem. They know what all the solutions are. They know what all the products are. And then they're just trying to compare, right? And your salesperson's the front line. So, not only is the salesperson slow to get to the lead, they have all these they're like a diva about all these things that they
yeah,
have to have, right? And then it's
yeah. I need
also
my
hard.
matcha juice and my
Yeah. They got to go and do all these things, send in a DNA sample. And then
Yep.
also you're being stacked with competitors,
Yeah.
and a lot of times they can't tell the difference, right? A lot, and it's not the funnel, it's not the deliverable, It's not exactly the product. It's just how you explain it sometimes
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
differentiates you.
Whoever's the clearest. I mean, we hear this all the time, right? Whoever's the clearest, whoever is able to communicate their product, service, whatever it is, the best, that person's the one that's going to win that sell. And most people can't, and I know you've ran into this, most people can't communicate what they do. And
Yeah.
so it's this big long conversation, and they sound the same, like you just said. They sound the same as everybody. Doesn't matter. They think whatever the training program or the service that's provided or the product that they're buying or what is all the same because that's the way they see it. And now, like you said, I can go into AI. I can have a conversation with AI and go, okay, give me the comparison. Like, tell me exactly what the difference is based on what you see online, like what AI is seeing online. Now, that doesn't mean that it's accurate. That just means that's the information that's online. So we also have to do a better job of communicating that up front. Then the sales guy has to do a good job of communicating it when they do contact and talk to the people. And I know you and I were talking about this a while back. You require all the sales teams to have a daily, like they should be sending in daily reports.
Yeah,
I know our
absolutely.
sales guy sends a daily report in. This is how many calls I made, contacts, quotes, main things.
Yep. And if the person, if there's a financial objection, I want to know what their cash on hand and credit was,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it tells me, so there's pass and fail, right? There's show and no show, but there's also like grade of lead. The
Right.
person who has a 500 credit score but makes 10 grand a month is different than someone who has a 700 credit score but makes 5 grand a month.
Right.
There's like a grade, right? And having that information tells you a lot. And yeah, you want people to report on what you want them to pay attention to.
Oh, for
Your
sure.
your reporting is basically how you get people to pay attention to what you want them to pay attention to, and it's also like a management mechanism. Like
Sure.
a reporting system will actually manage somebody.
That makes a lot of sense because when they start paying attention to those numbers, they start paying attention to the pieces of the puzzle. They also are if it's about like you said, if it's the quality of lead or whatever, they're looking for it. Their brain now is zeroed in on that. And I think the thing that we've seen for 10 plus years now is there are companies that we work with in our marketing company that doesn't matter how many leads we send them or whatever we've done for them, they just can't seem to ever get out of their own way. Like
Yeah.
it's a broken mechanism within the system. I don't know what it is, but it's just and they jump from marketing company to marketing company to marketing company to marketing company and they never find the answer because the answer isn't in the marketing company. It's internal. What advice, just out of curiosity, because I like this affects everything. It's and what you've talked about is kind of more of a holistic approach of it's not just the ad, it's not just the sales team, it's not just the management. Like what kind of advice would you give a coach or consultant, somebody that's out there right now that you'd be working with that they're coming into this and they're going, look, in the last because we've seen this in the last 6, 12 months, things have changed drastically. Where would you tell them to start? Because like this is a lot. Like especially as a small business owner, this is a lot for somebody to take on and go, okay, where is the broken piece of the puzzle? How do I find the broken piece of the puzzle? Is there a mechanism? Is there a test? Is there something that would be a red flashing light that goes, hey, this is where you need to look?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is not having the right dashboard and the right system.
Mm,
So it's what they're measuring. People are measuring, if they have a low ticket funnel, they're measuring CPAs.
sure.
If they which does not tell you anything about lead quality.
Right.
So you kind of have to stand back. You have to step all the way back, and you have to get like a 30,000 foot view and understand, like, why do we do the things that we do? Right? So low ticket funnels became very, very popular. Why were people doing that? Well, you had a bunch of marketers that sold people on, like, hey, it's
Yeah.
people have changed. They really want low ticket stuff. Oh, it gives you better quality. So all these people got sold on it. And by default, if you look at probability, which first of all, low ticket funnel is not new. It's not a new thing at all. People have been doing it for
Been around
years.
forever. Yeah.
Yeah, been around forever. It's been around since infomercials. By default, a handful of people are going to have success with anything.
Yeah.
So if we got on here and I said, hey guys, there's a brand new funnel. It's where you like draw a picture of a dog on a sticky note or whatever, like just some basic stuff. By default, some a portion of the listeners it will work for. And it may have nothing to do with that thing that I actually told them. It could be
Right.
because of the time that they're getting into the
Right.
market.
Right.
It could be because of the way they look. Maybe more people that are buyers in that market look like them or whoever's in the ads. So you have to really stand back and look at why were we doing the thing that we're doing, and like what are we missing here, because and change what you're measuring.
Right.
Right now, one of the most important things to measure is just lead quality. Just
Right.
like measure it, find your own, what we do is we give people a sheet that they can plug in to all of their systems and stuff, and then they basically set up their own custom grading. Because
Mm.
if you are working with a marketing agency, you have to be able, you can't just tell a marketing agency, hey, my closer is upset today, they felt bad, they didn't close anything, change the ads. Right, you
Yeah.
might be shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
You have to be able to share definitive binary information that's backed by data.
Yeah.
It has to be backed by data. So it has to be like, hey, our score was this in a great month. Our score is usually this. Now it's down to this. These are some of the patterns that we're seeing with our lead quality. We're seeing that X percentage are showing up with this, or they're doing this, or they're, having this. So they need to measure lead quality. That's the first thing. And they need to understand, which this is age old thing, but I think people get away with this, get away from this, is they just need to understand their customer better.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, if you're in a market where you need to always be doing competitor analysis. And the thing is, it sounds really cute to say, oh, I don't pay attention to my competitors,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then what people will do is they'll take, people that they listen to and follow who've made a lot of money, they'll take them out of context and they'll say, oh, well, this person says don't look at the competitors. And I will tell you, if you don't observe, and all those people pay attention to competitors,
Oh
they
yeah.
observe the entire market, just so everybody knows. You're going to have a really hard time if you don't look at competitors and understand, are you guys saying the same exact thing? Is the person seeing your ads thinking that their thing is the exact same as yours?
Yep.
It may not be. It could, your products could be very similar, right? Or
Yeah.
there could be one little thing that's different. But you may, if the market is shifting from saying, hey, we can do this, this, and this, and the customer's heard it 1,000 times, well, you may need to shift to like a unique mechanism if there's a lot of competition, or if it feels like there's a lot of competition because the way targeting has changed.
Right.
And the way I like to explain that is, have you ever heard my unique mechanism analogy
I don't think so.
about, okay, so do you sit down and do planning every week?
Yes.
So I know you do, because you're on your stuff
I
with
try to
everything.
be.
So how long does it take? Like a couple hours?
Yeah, if that. Sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer, just depends.
So let's say it takes, would you agree that maybe it takes like hour and a half at least?
Yeah.
And what do you use, like a notebook or a
Yeah.
planner or
I'm a
something?
writer. I write down, yeah. I use a notebook.
Got it. So what if I told you that I could give you a tool that's almost as light as a feather? It can fit in that little, that little pocket on your jeans that we don't
Yeah.
really know what it's for. It can fit in that pocket,
Yeah.
and it can actually cut your planning time into a fraction. For some people, it can cut it from an hour to 30 minutes. Would you want it?
Yeah. I'd buy it today.
Do you know what it is?
I have no idea.
It's a paper clip.
Okay.
But if you know how you can use paper clips
Yeah.
to marker the pages when you're going from month to week to day, right? And you're writing down all the stuff and you're planning out your whole month, your whole week, which I know that might sound like an exaggeration, but that is, if I had told you that it was a paper clip and there was 10 other people saying, yeah, here's a paper clip. Here's all the cool stuff it does. They're like, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't
You
want
know,
that. Yeah.
I don't, well, one, they don't want it, right?
Yeah.
But they also don't know which one to pick.
Right.
But if I were to hook them in like that, then it creates interest, it creates curiosity. Or if I'm targeting that problem,
Right.
a specific problem. So here's where you get down to like niching. Maybe I want to focus on, maybe I'm a paperclip company that wants to run a campaign specifically to people who plan out their week because it's my bias that those people have more money
Right.
and they have more spending power or whatever. So I will target them. Not only will I target them by targeting that problem, but I will also make my thing sound totally different and way better just by explaining it different.
Yeah, I like
And
that.
that's how you beat competition.
Yeah, because I was watching, I can't remember who it was. I was watching somebody the other day and they were in one of their region, like a regional small mastermind event. He was walking around with a microphone and I wish I could remember who it was. And he started with the first person and he said, "Hey, tell me what you do." And I think it was a room of all the same kind of people. Let's say it was realtors. I don't know what it was, but let's say it was realtors. And the pitch that she had, because he asked her, he said, "Why should I use your services?" And she went through your pitch and he left her and went to somebody else. "Why should I use your services?" And he went to like three or four different people in the room and he said, "What's the problem that you guys hear from across all of these people?" And somebody goes, "They all sound the same. It's the same exact pitch. Everybody has the same. Well, you use me because fill in the blank, and it was all the same. It was the same thing. It might have been said a little bit differently, but it was all the same thing. There was nothing that made them stand apart. So let's talk about your TTO, like the strategy, this ad strategy, because I think all of this kind of ties together. When somebody is crafting an ad now, could you give them like three tips of, hey, here's how to make sure that we're doing this the right way today as of 2025 with AI doing its thing. We don't want to give Zuckerberg money just to give him money. Like let's make sure that we're doing this the right way. Like what are some things that you strategies to use practically today? Because it sounds like we do need to work on how we say what we say, which
Yes.
that's super important. I know you and I have talked about some other things too. What are like three practical tips somebody could use today, whether it's a small business owner, coach, consultant, whatever?
So, we talked about differentiating lead quality, sales team, we talked about all this stuff. You want to target the right people,
Right.
right? And so basically what you need to do is you need to understand the difference between, so there's two different versions of every problem.
Mm.
There's the version that applies to everybody, right? And then there's the version that applies only to the people who are have the buying power.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so and how the ads target now are based on the things that you write.
Okay.
A lot of it is not just, there's other things that we could go into that
Yeah, 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 yeah.
a whole rabbit hole with that. But the best thing that you can do, so think about targeting like this. Let's say that I have a problem, but let's say I'm like arguing with my wife via text or something about something silly. um let's say one of my kids are going through something and we're having like a heated debate, right?
Yep.
And we're texting each other. It's just something that happens. What happens is the Facebook AI, it knows everything. So I hate talking about this because it always scares people, but your phone
Yeah, it
picks
hears
up
everything.
on everything, everything.
Yep.
So the words that you write are signals. So when you're texting somebody via DM or text on your phone, that is a signal. So the AI is trying to match signals, right? So part of the TTO process is something that I call telepathy targeting.
Okay.
Basically, what we do is we have a process where we take our best customers and we take whatever we can find. If we can get recorded sales calls, great.
Mm.
If we can get testimonial videos, great. If we don't have any of that stuff, then we'll scrape the internet from direct competitors and we pull in that language. And basically what we do is there's a bunch of logic and stuff in this system that's used where it narrows down to what problem does our ideal customer have? Excuse me, what problem does our ideal customer have that our unideal customer doesn't have? so that when we're writing the hook, which you should spend most of your time on the hook, when we're writing the hook, it is a signal that matches with a signal to someone who is most likely to be a buyer
Oh,
and
interesting.
most likely to be that tire of customer. And the other thing I always tell people is, the best way to get better quality leads and for your ads to work better is to just offer something. Now, this is not the deliverable, this is the offer. The offer
Right.
is how you explain something, is to offer something that your unideal customers just don't want. They have
Mm,
no use for it.
mm.
And it doesn't matter what the product is. There's always a way that like I shared earlier, there's always a way that you can explain the problem in the product in a way that speaks to a specific person. So what the TTO does is it helps you, it takes 15 minutes to set up, 15 20 minutes depending on how you're doing it. And then it runs through all of that logic and it helps you develop that hook.
Mm.
And your hook is kind of like, it really ties into your offer, the problem that you're solving and the offer. And just through doing that, you're going to see an increase in lead quality. Now
Yeah,
there's
it's going to
bigger
attract the
markets.
right. It's going to attract the right person, right? I
It's
mean,
going
that's
to
the whole point of
target,
it.
well, not only is it going to attract the right person, but it's also going to show the AI who to target. As long as, you're not bunching a bunch of different things in one campaign. So,
Messaging. Yeah.
yes. So that's one big thing that's changed is, if you're solving a certain type of problem to a certain type of market, you need to keep that in one campaign. Don't mix
Okay.
it all up into multiple campaigns because the campaigns really tell the AI, hey, here's how you're going to get rewarded. Here's what you're going after. So what the TTO does is that, and it will help you create that. It will increase your lead quality by going through that process and adjusting that. And it really, really helps you with your targeting.
So let me think about because I'm going to use a personal example of something we just did. We just took our wife. We went to a clinic in Tennessee. I found this clinic actually through AI, which was kind of crazy. The doctor was like, "Really, you found me through AI?" And it's using AI completely different. It's using it to kind of look at all of the data of what all we've done through the years for my wife's MS, blah blah blah. Right. What's been interesting is there's only a certain group people that have health issues, like my wife's MS with an autoimmune. People that have health issues like that, they look for very specific things. They want to solve a problem for a very specific issue, right? And it's kind of like what you're talking about right now. Like when when there's a problem like that, this is not something insurance is going to cover. Like this is something that somebody's going to have to be able to afford. They've got a problem, they want to solve it. If somebody has an answer, like if somebody had an answer for her MS today, I would do whatever we needed to do to go do that. Doesn't matter the cost, doesn't matter how much time it's going to take. Like we just spent 2 weeks at that clinic and we spent a pretty good chunk of money to go there and do the thing, right? That's really what you're talking about is the hook would need to speak directly to what the issue is. It would all need to be in the same campaign. It really need to speak to the solution. And what I'm seeing more and more is you really want to give the end result, right? You want to show them what they're getting from the solution that you've just provided, where they're going to go as a whatever buyer of the product or user of the product. So in the TTO strategy, you're going to develop the hook, and this is in just for people that maybe you're watching this. This is in the description, right? This is in the post itself up at the top. This is the wording that's going to be used in the post, or it could even be the language that's used in the video ad or on the text ad, or does it matter?
So it's going to help you it's going to help you with the overall ad concept, right?
Okay.
So it's going to help you focus on the right thing. But then it will also help you form the hook and the headline
Okay.
for it. And you can form multiple. And the other thing you can do too is once you have all of that set up. So this is like a smaller part of a bigger system. So we have a system called the marketing brain that you can do a competitor analysis. It does all these things that we're talking about. So the TTO is a part of that. But
Okay.
once you have all of that information, like once you go through all these steps and you have all that information, in an AI thread, you can ask it all sorts of questions.
Yeah.
So you can ask it about your offer, you can do all kinds of stuff, but it will really help you form the concepts so that you can run campaigns to a specific person. And certain markets are bigger than others, right? You
Sure.
might target one symptom of a problem that's very specific. It's a small group of people, and your budget might only scale so far. It
Right.
might only scale to $1,000 a day or something like that. And then you run back through the process again, and then you find a different market or a
Right.
bigger market based on the symptom that they're having. But what it does is it controls the targeting, because it doesn't matter what you target anymore. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows by now that you can target something, and you're like, oh, I don't understand why we're getting people outside of that. Well, it's because the
Yeah.
AI controls
Yeah.
everything.
There's something in whatever you're doing that's creating that mechanism for it to go out and find something else. It could be language, it could be whatever, right? That's firing off to the AI.
Yep. It could be you're just getting a lot of conversions with a certain group of people because,
Mm, I've seen that
you
too.
know, whatever you're saying, it's somehow there's some connection there, and it's locked on to them, and it's getting, if you're trying to get leads and it's getting lots of leads, then you're rewarding the AI, right? It could also be, I've seen in some cases where, the language isn't dialed in enough, and then a landing page
Oh,
looks similar to something else,
right.
and it locks on to people because of that. So if you're getting lower quality people, low intent people, then you're actually, it's not that the targeting isn't working, it's actually working really well. You're just not giving it specific enough parameters within the language in the ad, within the
Mm,
problem that you're solving, and then also by thinking of a campaign as instructing the AI who it's going to go after, right? With all the messaging and stuff. A lot
yeah,
of people are
no.
just mixing it in, and then it's confusing. So they'll have, one week they get this certain type of person, then the next week they get a different grade of person. And then on top of it, they're not measuring it. So it'll take 2-3 weeks before they realize that, like, oh,
Everything's
we don't think
off.
this is working out. Then they
Yeah.
finally, share it with the marketing team or whatever. But now you've lost 3 weeks out of the month, and it's a bad month. And then your closers are like, hey, I'm not going to make any money. And it's just this
Yeah.
whole big thing. If they could just adjust that just a little bit, change what they're measuring, and then also have a system in place to where their sales team is going to, don't bring sales reps in based on the premise of them just capturing, like them just getting a full calendar of stuff.
Right.
Bring people in because the opportunity, this would be my last piece of advice on this. The opportunity should not be like, hey, you're going to get a calendar stacked full of people. The opportunity should be, hey, we have a great product. It should be easy to sell, and that's it. And we have a great culture, and we have
Yeah.
great commission. This product is easy to sell. We have high customer ratings. Bring your closers in because of that. Bring your setters in because of that, and then give them KPIs and make sure they understand that, hey, our most successful people sets this many calls.
Right.
And so even if you have a breakdown in your funnel, as long as you're doing all these things, you're measuring the lead quality, you're adjusting your hooks the way that I'm sharing, and then you're setting these expectations and agreements with your salespeople, it's impossible for you to lose.
Yeah.
But
So
it's got to be all of it.
out of
It can't be one or
curiosity,
the other.
because as you mentioned this a minute ago with landing pages, as of right now, which this is July of 2025, do you have a preference between a lead ad and a landing page?
So here's my model on that. Here's what I ask. The question is not having this thing the reason why I'm not hitting XYZ result, right?
Hmm.
So if a client comes to me and they say, hey man, I was thinking about doing this XYZ funnel. I heard it from so and so, or I saw it in an Instagram video. My question is, is not having that thing the reason why you're not hitting 100 grand a month or why you're not hitting 10 million a year? And normally they'll say no. And I'll say, okay, well, what is the real reason? Well,
Yeah,
my setters or my closers or this, our lead quality or our opt-in or whatever, which an opt-in could be related to a landing page.
for sure.
But so I tell everybody, start with a lead ad, make sure that your ecosystem's really good. Like once they get in, make sure, they're getting emails, they're seeing content, make sure you're positioned the right way. But I always tell everybody, like, if you can't succeed with a lead ad, then you're going to struggle with
Yeah, no
anything
matter
else.
what. Yeah, no matter what kind of funnel or anything else.
Unless it's some form of arbitrage. And
Yeah,
then what's going to happen is it's going to work for a certain, and I'm seeing this with companies, works for a certain time because they think they've cracked the code, but really they just stumbled upon some,
yeah,
form of arbitrage that has a long shelf life. And then things change and this is by the time they're putting all their chips in on the table and they're saying, we're going to spend a lot more. And then the thing breaks and they can't figure out why it broke because they're not even measuring the right things. They're just putting all their faith into like this certain type of funnel.
yep,
And the problem is a certain type of funnel, if that is driving things, then it's almost kind of like it's a timing thing, it's a tactical thing, and it doesn't last that long.
yeah,
So I always tell everybody, like, use a lead form, use a lead
yeah,
ad,
yeah,
set it to a conditional lead form so that your pixel only fires when they answer things in a certain way, right? It's native, your tracking is going to be better, your ads are going to perform better, like your pixel is going to get the AI and the pixel are going to do better because you can't opt out of that tracking like you can a web page.
right, right.
Obviously, there's some situations where you have to use landing pages, but that's where we go back to the question of like, is not having this thing the reason
Really
why? Well, in
causing the
some
problem.
cases, yeah, you might need like a certain video on your thank you page or something like that. Yeah, sure, maybe. But yeah, I really like lead forms, man. I
Yeah,
like them. They're fast. If I need to shift and do a different lead magnet, I can do that. And there's this bias right now where people think that if someone doesn't purchase something, a low ticket product, that they're not a good lead. But here's what I will tell you: which lead is better? A person window shopping at the Prada store or whatever, the person that is hanging out at the Ferrari dealership, or the guy that bought something at the dollar store?
yeah,
Like, is that person really that much more high value?
yeah,
Um, in a lot of markets, people just want to talk to somebody. Like people that
sure,
have money, they
sure.
just want to talk to somebody. So they want to consume something that takes a few minutes to consume, very short time, and they want to talk to somebody. They don't want to go through a 90-minute video. They don't want to go through a challenge. They don't want to do any of that crap,
Yeah,
especially if it's in a market where things have changed and people have rapidly gotten used to stuff. They don't want to do it. So yeah,
makes
I'm all
sense.
for lead forms. All
Yeah,
for
we've
it.
used lead forms for years. It's what we use for our own business, what we use for clients. We've done the whole VSL and the whole fancy landing page. We've done all of that also through the years. It's been kind of interesting. I know that people that are watching are probably going, man, I would like to get my hands on the TTO, at least part of that product or part of that thing. And Lance has actually said, hey, you know what? I will give that to you today. So if you've lasted this, if you've actually listened to this podcast, you're like, look, I would love to have that piece of the puzzle and be able to do the hook and the strategy and figure that piece out. He's actually made that available. Where do they need to go to actually get that? Because I know you've actually created something specific for this.
Go to fixmyadswithai.com.
Fixmyadswithai.com. Okay, that'll be easy enough. We're going to put that in the description wherever you're watching this. We want to make sure and do that for you. But fixmyadswithai.com, guys, you're going to be able to get a hold of this TTO playbook so that you can actually see how the process works. Run your system through that, run your ads through that so that you can actually see what should the hook be and how should I build this concept of whatever the ad needs to be. This is changing and it's changing fast. And if people don't keep up with it, they're just going to be throwing money away. And that's what we've seen. That's what you're seeing, I know too. Man, thank you so much for coming on today. This has been a master class. I know you and I could talk for hours about this
Yeah.
because it is such a huge topic. This is something that is not only needing, it's needed right now, it's necessary right now. And as we're seeing, I'm seeing this even in local businesses that we're doing marketing for out of YRock. Um, People's lead flow is drying up because they've relied on the same old stuff for years, and it's changing so rapidly right now that they're needing to change. They need to change the methodology of what they're doing. Hopefully, this gives you guys some directions to go. And if you guys want to find out more, make sure and check out the website that he said. Also, you could go to lancegreenberg.com and find out more about Lance, his services, his consulting, his coaching. If you guys have coaching or consulting service or a business right now that you're like, look, I need to work with this guy, go check him out. Lance and I have been talking about this stuff for a long time. He's given me some advice on our own personal businesses. He knows his stuff extremely well. Look, if this episode has helped you, could you do me a favor? Subscribe to this podcast, no matter what platform you're on, or follow me, or hit whatever that button is. Leave a review. We would love the reviews so that we know how we're doing. Are we bringing value to you? And share it with a coach, consultant, business owner, somebody that might find value in what Lance has shared with us today. We would love for you to do that. The new episodes drop every Thursday, so make sure and check back for our powerhouse guests that we have coming up. And until next time, this is The Forge, where leaders are made and legacies are built.